Oops, welcome everyone. Back and, sorry, microphone. Yeah, welcome back and welcome again to Venture Day 2019. So big round of applause for everyone. Everyone who presented already. So for those of you who are just joining us now, just hands up if you're just joining now. So you can see, yeah, a couple of new people in the room. Awesome. Thank you for coming today. So we already went through 16 pitches since 1 o'clock. So we are sort of halfway through. And we already listened to 16 pitches, and just now the judging panel decided on the final 10. So we're now going into the final 10. And let me just quickly announce the final 10. We have Ian Ritchie, P2C Teams. Kristen Wibold is with Monda Pins. Mark Radic, Public Funding. Keep clapping. NICOLAS, PULECIO with Slash. MANISH KUMAR, Ice Cream Mhoos. Peter Graham with SubChat. Keep clapping. Thomas Boneham with Beviva. Tomas Carrillo Torres with Play Now. Brianna Young with Rock and Splosh. And finally, Jared Stolov with Loka. So those will be our finalists. And we present just in the same order like we did in the first round. Let me just come back here and introduce you to officially open our event, Professor Glenn Whitewick, our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Enterprise, to address you and to open the event officially. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you, Joachim, and welcome everybody to UTS and to Venture Day. To begin the proceedings, and on behalf of all those present, I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respect to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, upon whose ancestral lands UTS now stands. I'd also like to pay respect to elders both past and present, acknowledging them as traditional custodians of knowledge for this place. I'd like to start by thanking a number of people who are providing great support to this Venture Day. Peter Kazakos Family and Foundation, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, Aquil Technologies, Raymond Choi, Gilbert and Tobin's Intellectual Property Group, BDO Australia, Paul Thorley, and the UTS Business School for their generosity. Oh, hello, Deanne. How are you? Sorry, it's an old colleague and friend from Monash University in the audience. For their generosity in providing awards and prizes for the event. Our MBA in Entrepreneurship is our flagship entrepreneurship program here at UTS. It's unique within the Australian higher education landscape. With this program, we really do help students get the best possible start on their innovation journey from concept to commercialisation. Today, we'll hear from current students, but also from MBA alumni, MBAE alumni and previous Venture Day winners about how this program has helped with their entrepreneurial activities. So today is Venture Day. We're going to hear from the final 10. This marks for all of the students on the MBAE program the end of their studies here at UTS, and they'll end up obviously graduating. We're very keen to see them, no matter what outcome comes from today, to go off into the world and do amazing things. Throughout the last year or two, as students have undertaken a rigorous and intensive curriculum studying all aspects of business innovation and entrepreneurship. As part of the program, students have had access to many supporters, including an entrepreneur in residence, mentors and teaching staff, but also the Venture Lab, which is a space created specifically for the MBAE students to work on their businesses. There are also many other resources and extracurricular programs like the UTS Startup Program that we offer at UTS, but I'd also like to pay homage to the enormous amount of support that I know all of the students have had from their family and friends. And I know that a number of you are in the audience today, and we very much thank you for your support of our students through this journey. We're very proud to be part of a broad entrepreneurial community here at UTS, and we really see our role as a university in contributing to that whole innovation ecosystem and ultimately supporting students in developing their necessary knowledge and skills to create new enterprises. Finally, I'd like to thank the Business School's Director of Entrepreneurship, Associate Professor Joachim Schweitzer, who you've just met, all of our teaching staff, our judges today for coming and providing your capability and support, appreciate that. The entrepreneur in residence, mentors, administrators, and of course our MBAE students for all their hard work in making the program a success. very much look forward to seeing the outcome of today's winners and finalists, and welcoming the next cohort into the MBA program over the next couple of weeks. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to an exciting rest of the afternoon. Cheers.
A little bit of housekeeping. So if you are using social media, we're on hashtag UTS Venture Day, so please tweet away. Also, if you're looking for bathrooms, you just go to this door over there, and right in front of that oval classroom, you will find bathrooms. Fire procedure: in case of fire, we all go through the fire exits, which is the ones in the back and one here in the front. And we convene around the goods line towards the ABC building. And don't forget, by the end of this, we have a networking function down in Cafe 80. So you're all invited to stay around, have a chat, meet some of our founders, and have a drink. Now to introduce our fantastic judging panel for our event today. So let me introduce you to, in order of appearance, I'll start on the left-hand side here with David Langford, who is the Managing Director of Longleg Research. Applause for David for coming here today, please. Welcome, David. We're welcoming Peter Kazakos, the Managing Director for Kazakos Industries, also a donor of one of the main awards tonight. Peter. We have Walter Kazi here, Executive Director of Stratton. Ali Linz, also a revisit. He's been here many times now, so Ali, thanks for coming again. Ian Davis, the angel investor and director of Eponus Dream. Ben Bannon, representing Commonwealth Bank for another main award to be awarded tonight, head of human-centered innovation at CBA. Paul McTaggart, managing director of Black Peak Capital and non-executive director of Maya Resources. Neil Boyd Clark, here to his right from my side, managing partner at Arnhem Investment Management. Deanne Weir, first time on the panel. Welcome, the chairman of Air Media. And of course, last but not least, John Lee, who's been with us in our first year, now for the second time. John Lee, partner at Gilbert and Tobin, also a donor of award. Yeah. So one more time, thank you for giving up your time for this. And I think we are just about to hear the first pitch. Ian, are you ready to go? You are? Okay, well, we have 10 pitches for you. And welcome, Ian Ritchie.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Ian Ritchie. I'm from a company called Process to Customer Consulting Group. We make organisations work beautifully. Our business journey started 12 years ago. We completed a team performance program with one of Australia's big four banks, and that delivered for their business bank a $140 million uplift in profit. CFO magazine awarded them Business Bank of the Year shortly thereafter. That was our first client assignment. It's what we do. Breakthrough team performance and breakthrough process optimisation. The work that we do impacts the way people feel about their workday and the value that they derive and their organisations derive from it. Our clients love the rapid results, and some of them are here in the room today. Over that 12-year track record, the average uplift in business capacity that we've released through our work with these clients is 35%. Clients approach us to solve problems relating to capacity, speed, quality and compliance, profit, and often team culture. If we discern the difference that we see in the market between our competitors and what we do, these are some of the qualities that we see. We see a lot of train and hope in the market, a lot of money spent on training without measurement. We focus in on a curriculum and then measure the results so that over the years we've refined to just those interventions that create the most business value. I've mentioned high cost. We deliver a low cost, and what I'm talking with you about today will take that cost even lower. And finally, once training ends, people forget, whereas we focus on establishing and habituating the team performance habits. We would like to take this proven on-site consulting model now to deliver scale, and in order to do that, we need to take our training online, our coaching online and mentoring, and our measurement of value creation, which is key to this whole system, our desk software online. Our clients are asking for greater access to our services, no matter where their teams are located, in Australia and offshore. The technology is now performing at the standard required to deliver a great customer experience. And yes, we are seeking our share of the online training market in Australia, which IBISWorld place at $5 billion. If you have a look at the screen here, this is not a click and hope PowerPoint delivered online. This is a properly curated and designed adult education learning experience delivered online. That's what we want to do. So we want to take our classroom experience and have that provided online. Once our continuous improvement champions conclude their training, and we will monitor them and intervene as needed, they go into a 12-week human coaching online service. Same coach for the full 12 weeks, building trust, engagement, and habituating those successful practices. Finally, we want to create a beautiful dashboard experience for our continuous improvement champions to ensure that that virtuous circle of activity, measurement of results, and motivation is maintained and reinforced. This business scales relatively quickly. We are profitable in year one. By year two, with just under 500 sales, we're at $2 million revenue. And on conservative growth figures, we're at $22 million revenue in year 5. So far, something over 200 continuous improvement champions have graduated from our programs. This is what they're delivering to their client organisations as measured by those organisations today. We would like to make this 20,000 continuous improvement champion graduates and really impact corporate Australia, not to mention the workplace for those 20,000 people. This is Team P2C. George, my co-founder, is here. We have Tim, our process automation lead, Gracie, our business coach, James, our data analyst and Six Sigma black belt, and Mercia looking after customer onboarding and accounts. These are on-salary staff right now. We're a cash flow positive business. However, in order to achieve the scale that I've just talked about and the speed, there are some investment opportunities. So we would like to be able to more rapidly invest in a multi-channel sales campaign. This is a business-to-business sales campaign to develop our Dash software and to provide production support to put our training online. Unleash next level team performance. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question relating to getting staff? Even though you're going online, you still need more talent.
Yes.
In your group. What's your strategy to be able to attract staff?
Okay, so Peter, we are adept at bringing people into the business and with the right skills and then adjusting their delivery. So we're not necessarily looking for highly technical people, but it would be process people, perhaps Greenbelt qualified, and then we will bring them into the team performance. There's a ratio of 22 or so CI champions concurrent per coach. So the $22 million revenue is based on just over 100 coaches.
Ian, just following up on your proposition, you mentioned that you're low cost.
Yes.
What is it that allows you to be a low-cost provider of a superior solution?
So currently for our on-site services, in order to deliver a program like this, because of the cost of being on-site, we're talking something in the order of 200,000 to bring 11 to 18 CI champions through that program. We're selling this, we're proposing to sell this for $4,000 per CI champion for the 3.5-month program. So that's quite disruptive costing. And we could take one champion from an organisation, no matter where they are, as opposed to a whole group.
A question on scaling. So to get to 22 million by year 5, my guess is you need to get the word out beyond your current clients. How do you plan to do that?
Okay, so clearly this needs to be a multi-channel business-to-business sales campaign, and hence that's the top line on our ask. So we are experimenting right now with an A/B test in comparing Facebook with LinkedIn, so we're doing some outreach. Our next experiment will be to approach the HR community and provide some breakfast sessions and try to create some viral word of mouth. But we really need some marketing and sales campaign design support to then build that out. But George and I are both I hope well able to speak at breakfast sessions and to engage on a business-to-business.
Ian, good presentation. My question, so that transition online is going to introduce a whole new players in terms of competition. What's going to make you different to the existing players online?
So what makes us different now, we believe, is what will make us different then, and it comes down to the ability to measure and know what interventions create the value amongst our clients, and to be very intuitive about that. So it's the curation of the content and our follow-up. We have piloted the online version with a couple of clients, and the results are positive.
Yeah, thank you.
But happy to discuss further on.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark, and I represent Public Funding, a social venture fighting for funding transparency. Today, I'll be presenting to you our first product. Frustrated, confused, and anxious. These are the feelings that we feel when we wait. When we wait for a response or an answer associated with something that could change our personal lives or our business for better or for worse. In cases when we wait for funding opportunities, when we wait for a grant acceptance. The grant space in Australia is composed of more than $50 billion of our money allocated on our behalf, spread across 4,000 grants. You, as a business owner, must first identify which grant you'd like to apply for, review the eligibility criteria, and then put pen to paper or hire someone else to do so, all whilst trusting yourself that you are able to wait. You're able to wait for the extensive application filtering. You're able to wait for workflow inefficiencies within the government, and you're able to wait due to an overall lack of transparency in the amount of grants being allocated. Sometimes for 30 to 60 days waiting for a rejection notice. That's ridiculous. So how might we at Public Funding increase your application quality, increase your workflow efficiency, and also increase the feedback transparency associated with an application? I would like to introduce you to Priscilla. Priscilla is kind of like your grant personal assistant. She reduces the time between application and result through smart evaluation, tailored funding opportunities, and assisted applications. She works simply, she loves to read, and reads our database nearly every single second. And from that, understands the eligibility criteria associated with the grant. Then we ask her 3 simple things. Firstly, produce screening questions. Secondly, classify the grant relative to your business needs. And thirdly, help us producing application templates, all unassisted, delivered to you via a chatbot experience. Let's say you come to the Public Funding site. You're interested in this grant, minimum viable product grant. Simply click on Review with Priscilla. Priscilla will pop up and say, hey Mark, answer these questions. From those questions, we will be able to determine whether or not you should or should not apply. If you should apply, we will help you through the application process. If you shouldn't, we'll either defer you to a different grant that's more relevant to your business criteria, or we'll tell you straight out you shouldn't apply for grants. There are many competitors within this space, however, they're just aggregates. They serve no innovative purpose. They're just databases. And we have a database of over 4,000 grants ourselves, so we are competitive at this. For premium database functionality across these features, we offer that at $5 per month. Okay? In terms of innovation, we provide Priscilla, something that none of our competitors have and none of our competitors can really make. So we charge that at $100 per application or per grant. Currently in its alpha stages, Priscilla has had 30 individuals go through it. And these 30 individuals wanted to put pen on paper and submit an application, willing to waste their time and effort in waiting for an approval or a rejection. From that, we found that 25 should apply for this grant. However, we also found that 5 shouldn't. 5 weren't really eligible. From that, we can infer that we saved them approximately 1 month each of waiting time, 1 month of executables, 1 month of deliverables. We saved them a month, and that's truly valuable to these businesses. In terms of financials, with 100% grant serviceability across the 4,000 grants, we can estimate a revenue stream of approximately $13 million, split across $5 per month premium database subscription rate and a $100 per use for Priscilla. Now, what's our go-to-market? Our go-to-market is startups. The startup and establishing business grants amounting to a total of $36 billion. These 400 grants will try to market to them via startup communities, co-working spaces, leveraging on social media as well as SEO. We'll also be offering an affiliate program, 5% commission on a 60-day cookie. And we've been quite busy. Over the past 3 months, we've won the GovHack New South Wales based on a predecessor of Priscilla, so the government likes it. Also, we've produced an alpha program with 30 individuals going through it. By December, we aim to have 100% startup and establishing grant serviceability by Priscilla. And by 2021, 100% grant serviceability. Our team is composed of individuals with more than 16 years of AI and IT experience and 30 years of marketing and business experience. The founder and curator of TEDx Wanchai, a business owner with more than 30 years experience, and the head of AI and data science at Australia's fastest growing AI startup. We believe that we have the passion for innovation and funding and scalable technologies to truly execute on Priscilla. Now, I'm here today asking for $300,000 for a beta program of a scalable version of Priscilla for developers as well as marketing. Meet people within the public procurement, grant, and tender space, because in combination with assistance from people within the natural language processing field, we believe that Priscilla can scale within these 2 verticals. However, Priscilla only addresses the grant space. We at Public Funding are there for transparency. We're a social venture. We're also going to be addressing public procurement as well as access to information. We're here to provide transparency and insight into all public fund allocation, a $3 trillion per year loss due to corruption and a lack of transparency globally. If you're interested in us, Public Funding, please go to publicfunding.co and sign up to our email list. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks very much. Great presentation. I think the grant criteria for a lot of these grants will change over time, some of them quite quickly and regularly. What's the time and cost commitment for you to keep updating Priscilla?
See, with that, unfortunately, I cannot give you a direct response to that question because Priscilla is currently in its proof of concept alpha stages. However, I'm assuming with the technologies behind Priscilla that setting a periodic update period would counteract the updating in the grant criteria that you're mentioning. Does that address your question? Sorry. Sorry.
Thanks for the presentation, Mark. You've anchored quite heavily there around the core customer problem you're trying to solve is around time. I was just wondering what feedback and research you've got to back up that that's actually the core pain point people are experiencing.
Okay, so I've done over 60 interviews with people that have applied for grants, and the biggest pain point is them wondering whether or not they understood the grant eligibility. I could say that yes, my sample size were with people within the startup and establishing business space, so them doing it on their own is kind of their issue, and they don't have a professional behind them. However, they felt that their understanding of the eligibility criteria gave them some sort of anxiety associated with it. Plus, receiving a rejection notice based on the sole fact that you have a buy now button on your website indicating that you have revenue is kind of absurd. And these things aren't stipulated within the government documentation saying that you know buy now buttons on your website or else you're inferring that you have revenue, things like that. So I'm going to say statistical significance, no, but from our 60 interviews, yes.
In terms of the pricing that you've got for the service of $100 each time you use Priscilla, why did you choose a flat fee rather than a sort of a percentage of funds which might be available, or a combination of both? And then secondly, you describe yourself as a social, socially focused organisation. But what do you think about the return on capital that's going to need to be provided by the business?
So to address your first point, sorry, can you repeat that first question?
So was really the revenue model. Why is it a flat fee?
Okay, so we are a social venture and we're not really interested in becoming super profitable. Yes, we could charge per application or a commission basis, which is what the industry currently does. However, we're a social venture, we love Australia, and we think everyone here needs some government money because there's so much out there. However, sometimes it's not accessible. Okay, and in terms of your second question, unfortunately, I have forgotten that as well.
It's too late now anyway. So
okay,
let's move
brilliant.
on.
Hi everyone, my name is NICOLAS and I'm the founder of Slash, a community waste reduction network, a social venture. Today, I want to talk with you about household waste generation and the way we could face this challenge with the smart bins and the Internet of Things. But first, let me share with you some insights. Every year, the waste we generate is growing at twice the rate of our population. This is unsustainable. The average Australian family throws out over $3,500 of food every year, and this could be double in a family of 5. So this is what I heard when talking to people about this issue. Families are just not aware of how much waste they generate, therefore no real motivation for improvement. People want to do the right thing, but often don't know where to start on how to reduce waste. The current system doesn't provide incentives to change behaviors. In a nutshell, the problem is that the current system rewards waste collection rather than waste reduction. So how much waste could we actually reduce? Well, you might be surprised to know that 24% of the average red bin content is garbage only that should go to the landfill. 22% are recyclables that should go into the yellow bin or the red cycle program. 24% are organics, and 30% is food waste that could be reduced or compost. So this is the 76% we want to help people reduce. And this is exactly what the residents from Caringbah South were able to achieve in the social experiment from the ABC series War on Waste. Residents found they could reduce the amount of waste in their red bins by up to 2/3. So then I thought, how could we provide this experience to every Australian? And this is how Slash was born. Slash enables councils to halve waste via an IoT network that engages, influences, and rewards residents for reducing waste. So this is how it works. We feed red bins with IoT volume sensors linked to resident profiles. We run a real-time monitoring network for waste generation data. We provide waste reporting and reduction advice to residents and councils. But most importantly, we deliver variable incentives for residents based on new waste outcomes. These incentives could be council rate discounts, service credits, or pay-as-you-go fees. In summary, we measure, analyze, advise, and incentivize residents for reducing waste. It's a win-win solution that removes friction and aligns councils and residents towards the same goal. Residents save money through the variable waste incentive and by reducing their food bills, while councils reduce landfill waste disposal costs while receiving a great waste educational tool they can share with the community. They both receive real-time waste monitoring and reduction advice through the app and web platform. Currently, there are no companies using IoT sensors in household bins providing real-time information to residents, and that's the space we want to own. Research shows that families with children are the ones that generate more waste and therefore need more support. Our target market is 332,000 families with children living in houses across 58 metropolitan councils in New South Wales. These numbers will double if we talk about the rest of the country. Our business model is simple, an opt-in model offered from councils to residents who want to reduce waste and value our benefits. The starter kit is $50 per house for the council, while the subscription fee is $10 per month for the residents. Both fees will be offset by the benefits that I described before. 6,000 tons less waste, 33,000 houses, and 3.7 million in revenue by year 3 is the way we measure success and impact. Our goal is to achieve a 10% market penetration in New South Wales in 3 years, and these numbers will scale quickly when we move into other states and then into other countries. So far, 20+ interviews with sustainability experts, council waste managers, and IoT sensors advisors have provided encouraging feedback to move this project forward. Our journey began in December 2018, and our next key milestone is to develop a prototype that we can validate via an MVP by May. We want to launch Slash in September and to have 3 councils and 100 houses signed by December. Our team. I bring 15 years experience in marketing and a passion for using entrepreneurship to solve environmental and social issues. We have a great mentor that has facilitated contacts with IoT experts working with councils. And we're looking for a technical co-founder with expertise in IoT networks and web development. Our big ask today, we are seeking funding to work on a prototype and a pilot program to test with families, $100,000 to make this happen. So please join our mission, Slash Waste at Home, because more waste our families will make a better choice for a brighter future. Thank you.
I'd like to ask about your pricing model. I'd describe it as a carrot and stick model. I pay first, and then if I do well, I might earn my money back and a bit more. Do you have any evidence that councils and families are willing to do that?
Well, from the conversations that I had with councils and some of the families, they think it's an interesting concept that need to be tested first so that they can see that those benefits actually will be achievable and therefore will provide those financial incentives.
Nicolas, I love the initiative. My question is that to have an impact, you would either need to change the lifestyle of a family would live, or essentially dump your rubbish elsewhere, outside your bin. What do you think is likely to happen?
Well, because this is a volunteer program, it's offered just to families that want to opt in into this program. We're expecting that that type of behavior will be minimized because we want to work with families that are actually aligned with the mission that we want to achieve. I think if the councils will try to implement this to all the community, then we could have more chances that misbehavior could occur.
Yep. Just a simple question. Will the measurement system be robust enough to withstand the morning daily dumping of rubbish? Half the bins in my street are broken, so.
Yes. Yes, the sensors that I've seen, I think I have an example, are very robust and are designed specifically for this purpose. We will need to test it, but the ones that I've seen will be able to meet those challenges. Well, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Manish Kumar. I'm the founder of Mhoos, Sorbets and ice creams. We create delicious, natural, dairy-free frozen desserts for everyone, as our guests are testing right now. So what's unique about us? We are dairy-free frozen desserts. We are 100% natural, unique and exclusive range of flavors. And I was a food scientist and professional pastry chef for 15 years. So these are products of culinary experience and food scientific knowledge. And they taste good. So isn't it? They are different from the first round, so you have different choices. So what we are solving through market research and industry reports and my personal experience in this field, we identified that there are options available, but they are very few in this category and in terms of variety and the product. And this market is huge. And let me share our wonderful journey so far since we first launched our product in September 2018. So after a rigorous development of 8 to 9 months, I developed 24 flavors, and we first launched our product in September 2018, and followed by various markets. And in January 2019, we had opened our first pop-up lease shop in South Village Kirway Shopping Mall. And since then, we have sold 5,600 scoops of ice creams, a worth value of $24,500, and still selling today as well. And we got lots of customer feedback coming back, and we track with our point of sale system. So this is what we have achieved. These are some of the flavors we already launched. There are 24, as I mentioned earlier, and we have already successfully validated these ones. As you see, these are not normal classic flavor. There are some exclusive flavors as well. For example, lychee and rose liqueur. So they are actually a symphony of flavors, I should say. Yes, you can ask the judges. Yeah. Don't trust me, and just see what our customers have been craving about. So Mel from Sydney South, she has written beautiful flavors, excellent customer service, and gorgeous range. Come see this amazing business. Please visit us. This market is huge in Australia. It is worth $445 million Australian dollar, and the key driver for this market is health consciousness, dietary requirements, and convenience. People are becoming more healthy, health conscious, and lactose intolerance is high in Australia. Out of 3, 2 people are lactose intolerant. This number is very huge. Veganism is on the rise. We are the 3rd largest country for vegan trend, so followed by US and Germany. If you see global, the data is not different. It is a huge market. So what makes us different? There are options available. If you see in this diagram, our direct competitors over the Mhoos and Coco Frio, they are our direct competitors, and they have some choices like 5 and 9 flavors. But those all flavors are based on coconut. If you love coconut, that's fine. If you don't love coconut, that's really a problem. But our products are not only coconut based. Our products are made with variety of ingredients. For example, we use cashew nut as well. We use chia seed. We use hemp seed, coconut, and various rich fruits. So we are not limited to one particular ingredients. We have a qualified team, as I was a food scientist and professional pastry chef in 10 years in Asia Pacific region, including Australia, so 7.5 years. And I have been in this journey. I have developed various products in various markets for top companies as well. And my IT solution consultant, he is developing our in-house e-commerce systems. He's a hybrid platform developer, and he's assisting us to launch our e-commerce platform or our own technological products. What we want to do in terms of our roadmap, in coming 6 months, we want to launch our take-home tubs, followed by our sugar-free range, because we want to sync our offerings with health trends. And then followed by that, we are going to produce nutrition-fortified products in this range, like calcium and other carotenoids and other nutrient enrichment. How we do that? We will launch our e-commerce platform, followed by key location outlets. We have already identified a few areas in Sydney, Sydney CBD, Inner West, Sydney South. We have already launched. So that is our go-to-market strategy for key location outlets. And then we will release our franchise and convenience store collaboration model. What we need from you guys, our plan is very simple. We want to scale up, and we need fund $250,000 to start a small scale production house, and also 2 pop-up shops, and then we start follow by them. And also in network, if we want networking for a scale up, if you have any expertise in FMCG product, please help us to move forward. And I'll leave you with this, our success story, which our judges are having. They are the right person to tell you how beautiful my products are. Thank you so much.
A question relating to the price point of your product compared to your competitors. Can you elaborate how you compare on price?
Okay. At this point of time, they have the advantage of those two competitors have the advantages of scale up because they are already in the supermarkets. But in terms of price point, at that price point, what they are giving, we have better quality product because we launched our product in Sydney vegan market, where Over the Move also comes and sells our product, and we proudly say that our product is much more sold out than their because of the choice which we are offering. And in Sydney vegan market, if anyone from here who visited there, they are the people are speaking about our products and offering. So it's head to head. We want that. And in terms of when we have a scale up, we will definitely match them. Yes, we're competitive. Yeah.
Manish, thanks for your presentation. You have a perishable product, and yet you're talking about an e-commerce distribution platform. How are you going to solve the distribution piece, getting your product to market in satisfactory quality?
Yeah, so there are 2 strategies we have planned about. One is our outlets will be there. The secondary, we are going to collaborate with convenience stores and other businesses. We'll have our freezers over there. So as a consumer, you have 2 choices. You can just log in. You want to buy a purchase delivered to your place, or you can just go and pick it up. So we will have spots in every suburbs for a quick delivery, that one. And we also supply with frozen truck kind of stuff. So we have different vendors. You can buy directly, or we supply that way. Thank you so much.
There we go. Sorry about that. Good evening. My name is Peter, and I'd like you to think of someone that you don't know, but someone that you'd really love to have a conversation with. Anyone in the world. How would you go about contacting them? And what are the chances that you actually get a reply? Perhaps you could offer to buy them a coffee as a way to incentivize a reply. But really, we don't have a reliable framework for ensuring that unsolicited conversations are mutually beneficial. So what's needed to fix this problem? We need a flexible marketplace for conversation. We need a marketplace that doesn't feel like a marketplace. We need a marketplace that feels just like messaging your best friend. Welcome to SubChat. SubChat is a scalable marketplace for one-on-one conversation hidden beneath an intuitive dual-platform messaging app designed by the original product designer of Airtasker. Using SubChat is simple. Suppose I'm a travel blogger, and you're looking for inspiration for your next big adventure. On SubChat, you could send me a message with a small payment attached asking where you should go. Let's say the minimum payment that I'll accept is just $3. I've then got 24 hours to reply to your message with 24 characters or more. If I do, I get just about the whole $3. But here's the great part. If I don't, you don't pay. The logic is really that simple, and it's this logic that distinguishes SubChat from every other messaging platform on the market today. So who's the target market for SubChat? Well, we're targeting content creators on YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Let's take YouTube as an example. Currently, there's 25 million content creators on YouTube. Now, in real time, how about we have a look at the effect that those creators produce? What you're seeing is almost 3 days of video uploaded and almost 3 years of video watched every single 10 seconds. With this astronomical proliferation of data, it's no surprise that becoming a YouTuber has skyrocketed to the top of our young people's career aspirations. However, data also reveals that sustaining a career on YouTube is less feasible than ever, with the top 50,000 YouTube channels earning an average of just $12,000 a year. As a result, content creators are moving to what's known as the paid content creator market, worth an estimated $1.32 billion. Now, in particular, they're using competitor services to SubChat like Twitch and Patreon, who combined processed over $300 million of donations to creators last year alone. However, both Twitch and Patreon operate on a one-to-many model, where interaction with content creators isn't exclusive. And secondly, Neither Twitch or Patreon offer any sort of guarantee to their users around the type of interaction they can expect with the creator in return for their money. This is where SubChat is different. For followers, SubChat guarantees one-on-one interaction with the creator within a predefined amount of time before they pay. And to creators, SubChat is the most efficient way to leverage additional value from their existing user base, earning a minimum of 8 cents per character they type into their phone. Our operational model is simple. We're a service provider and we take a service fee of between 14 and 24% per transaction, and our transactions range in value from $2.40 to $100. On the team, there's myself and my co-founder, John Farrell. We also have 3 developers building our product, and we've recently taken on a marketing intern. We have a few key accomplishments to date. Principally, we're really glad that we've been able to release SubChat about a month ago on iOS and Android, so you can download it if you like. We've also made great inroads with the Australian content creator community at VidCon 2018. And finally, we graduated from the fantastic UTS Startup Summer Sprint program. With this traction and our current growth, we expect to capture 15% of the Australian market and 3% of the American and European markets within 3 years. And that's a user base of about 100,000 people, generating about $9.5 million in revenue annually. To achieve this, we have a simple 3-phase plan. First, we're looking to establish our brand with creators who use platforms that are already part of the paid creator market, things like Twitch and TikTok. Next, we're looking to engage with creators on more generic social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And finally, we want to broaden the scope of SubChat to appeal to a broader audience of creators from LinkedIn, people like business coaches, fitness coaches, honestly, anyone with influence who someone might want to talk to. However, we do have some needs. So primarily, we're looking for a senior mentor with experience in the influencer industry to help refine our business model and also to help guide decision-making over our growth. We're also looking to take on a full-time social media marketer to develop a more robust marketing plan for us and also to execute it. And finally, I'm so proud of how we've been able to bootstrap SubChat to where it is. But we do need to take on funding at some point, and so in about 6 months' time, we're going to be looking to take on between $800,000 and $900,000 of seed funding to sustain our development team and our marketing through till mid-2020. Thanks very much for listening. I'd love to take your questions.
Hi, fantastic presentation, thanks for that. Do you think your guarantee of one-to-one is going to limit your appeal to creators? I mean, there's only so many characters they can type in a day.
Sure, certainly. No, I agree. We've tried to make the market as flexible and scalable as possible, so a creator can set the minimum amount that they'll accept. And so if they don't want to type to 1,000 people, they can set their minimum amount higher, for instance, $100, and then they're earning $100 for 24 characters. To give a little scenario, for instance, suppose someone puts a YouTube video up with 10,000 views. In AdSense revenue, they traditionally make between $10 and $50 from that. If just 0.1% of the people that see that video love the person enough to talk to them with, say, a $3 message, they just made $30 off the back of, say, 15 minutes work from that video. So our aim is for this to augment their existing revenue streams and for them to just leverage extra revenue from their ultra-dedicated supporters.
Peter, you mentioned that you've gone live already.
Yes.
What sort of take-up have you had?
To be honest, it's been slow, largely because we haven't been marketing it at all. So we believe in user-centered design, so we've been taking our time to roll in user feedback from our MVP before we market it properly. The reason being that influencers are very high-value customers, and with each influencer, they could bring 1,000 other customers. Before we take it to influencers, we want to be confident that it's the ideal platform for them.
Can I just ask a little bit about the way in which the payment works?
Sure.
Is it, does somebody have to register a credit card with you, or PayPal, or have you got all that lined up?
So at the moment, we're processing our payments through Stripe, and we have PayPal integrated as well, but we haven't made it go live yet. Our long-term aim is to use PayPal only, but people can also use their credit card. And so essentially, you can scroll through your list of conversations, like on Facebook, go into a conversation, type in your message, and as long as your donation amount is above the person's minimum, you'll be able to send it through to them. So it doesn't feel like a checkout, it's just a conversation log like any other messaging app.
Is there also a reason why you've limited the maximum payment to $100?
Sure. To begin with, that's purely our own sort of financial liability, because the way we're having to process payments is we're having to front up money into our payouts account and anticipate demand. That model will be shifting soon once we move exclusively to Stripe. So then we can lift the payments level. It's also a matter of ethics in terms of, we've got strict terms of service. People under 18 can't use the platform, but we know that children are going to try. And we don't want them to be able to spend $5 grand of their parents' money on a message. Thanks very much.
Well done, mate. G'day, I'm Tom Bonham and I'm the co-founder of Beviva. We're pitching in the social venture space today. I'm here today to talk about something very close to my heart, but it's also something that will impact 1 in 3 of us at some stage in our lives. 2 years ago, a great mate of mine, Andy, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and after the initial shock of his diagnosis had worn off, as it came completely out of the blue, something I didn't realise was just the day-to-day impact that his diagnosis and treatment would have on him. But his story isn't unique, and the listed side effects here are common to many cancer patients, including nausea, loss of appetite, and changing taste preferences. If you can imagine that you love a certain flavour at one point, and then after a round of cancer treatment, you can't stand it anymore. It can make eating enough, eating well, or sometimes eating at all, a really difficult prospect. All at a time which is really important to be getting adequate nutrition, because study after study has shown that adequate nutrition during cancer treatment leads to better outcomes. And this is where Beviva fits in. We're a line of tailored beverages specifically designed to the nutritional needs of cancer patients. But how will we compare to the market more broadly? Presently, it's dominated by Nestlé Food Services, Sciences, Abbott Nutrition, and Flavour Creations. Each of these products provides highly processed, nutritionally questionable, sorry, I'm going to retract that, highly processed, calorie-dense products with a limited flavour line. And so what this means for patients is that it's not tailored to their nutritional needs, nor is it tailored to their flavour tastes if their tastes change beyond the existing length of their line. And so the patients that we've spoken to tell us that this has led them to more typical off-the-counter, off-the-shelf options, including protein shakes all the way down the nutrition ladder to your Red Bulls and Lipton iced teas. If we take one of the tailored options from Nestlé, Boost Plus, I was shocked to find that 14 grams out of 100 mils is sugar. And for context, that's almost 25% more than Coca-Cola. All at a time when mounting evidence shows that a high sugar diet is related to higher incidences of cancer, and a high sugar diet during treatment correlated with worse outcomes. So there's obviously a gap in the market here, and there's a need for something different. And I'm hoping that Beviva is going to be that solution. We'll be nourishing using organic, natural, fresh ingredients with no added sugar and no added fillers. Developed by doctors and nutritionists working closely with cancer patients to ensure that the product is both effective but also tailored to what they want. Convenient, we'll be offering a subscription service delivered to their door. But most importantly, we're looking to move the needle in patient well-being during treatment, taking care of the nutrition question so that they can focus on getting well. We hope by 2021 to be able to serve 3% of the 500,000 patients being treated for cancer in Australia each year. That's 15,000 subscriptions. Our model's a subscription model, and at $7 per meal with an average of 2 per day. That's 900,000 in weekly revenue for an annual revenue of 47 million by 2021. We've built an exciting team around us with Andy, my co-founder and product developer, Andrew Howie, who has over 20 years experience in nutrition and as a dietitian working in the clinical space. Carolina Alas heads up our brand and marketing. She's launched products for Louis Vuitton Group, as well as the most recent rebranding for the World Wildlife Fund. And we have a strong advisory board as well across finance, design, and most excitingly, the CEO of Australia's largest sugar-free beverage company, who themselves are looking at a $10 million in annual revenue this year. So to date, where have we been? I've been working with Andy and we've developed a range of products which are working on him, and we've brought on a nutritionist now to build out that range, and we hope to feed them into a supervised case study in Q1 this year, build out the remaining business operations for a soft launch in selected cancer clinics throughout Sydney in Q4 this year, with a rollout Australia-wide in Q1 2020. We're asking for $3 million today to fund this journey, and we're also looking to build our network of advisors across supply chain, e-commerce, and particularly in legal, especially if you have experience in navigating the TGA. Thank you very much.
Question relating to the next phase. How
Sorry.
many are you going to use in your sample set to try out the different products? And are you using people in different age groups, different demographics?
Are you talking about the case study?
Yeah, at the case study.
We haven't built that yet. Yeah, but we will be looking to include a range, because it covers all the way from the elderly down to young
and
people.
that case study is covered by that funding. Is that part of the funding?
Sorry?
The costs of the case study.
Yes, that's covered within the funding ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tom, when you get to your revenue projections of 47 million,
Yes.
what kind of margin are you expecting there? Is this a product that's going to cost you a lot to put on the
Yeah, so
customer?
we've benchmarked it at the moment off our nearest competitor, which we can see to be the fresh smoothie beverage line, and that's looking at 25% cost of goods per unit, and then so the margins there, 25% basically. Yeah.
Thomas, just with regard to kind of how you envisage the subscription working, you've talked about changing tastes as the disease progresses.
Yeah.
So if it's a subscription model, what kind of shelf life and what sort of number of deliveries are you expecting for your customer base? Because it strikes me that could be quite a significant cost.
So we're expecting over the next 5 years, we're looking at 1% of New South Wales year 1, and then building out 1%, 3, and for each of those, sorry, you want to interject?
Perhaps wasn't quite clear. I'm talking about how regularly are you going to deliver to your customers?
Yeah. So we're planning on giving them the option to set their cadence according to their treatment, because some people might have treatment on a weekly basis, others might have it on a monthly. But so there's going to be a little bit of variability there. So I can't commit to exactly what it's going to look like, but we're planning on aligning it with that.
Hi everyone, my name is Tomas. I'm the founder of PlayNow, and I'm a huge fan of sports. Just like Jonah. Jonah used to be an advanced level tennis player. However, he's now intermediate, since he finds it difficult to find people to play with. But why did this happen? He constantly wants to play, but he can't find opponents of a similar level. And he doesn't have enough friends who play tennis. But Jonah is not alone. According to the Australian Sports Commission, there's currently 8.1 million adults who are playing sports once a week. And based on my research, half of these people are interested in playing more often. So I ask myself, what if we could match players in a simple way? What if we could bring courts and venues closer to the users? And what if we could provide the users with different features and options to play? Well, we can. The answer is PlayNow. PlayNow is an app that quickly connects sports enthusiasts to play their favorite games more often. So let's go back to Jonah to see how the app works. He first logs in, creates his profile. Then the app will ask him a series of questions to determine his level, being illustrated as a spider chart indicating his specific abilities. Once this happens, he'll be able to be matched with players of a similar level, view the rating details, and invite them to a game, as well as search for other registered players. Let's assume in this case, Jonah decides he wants to play with Elise Robinson. He'll be able to compare his level with hers and observe where their specific abilities match and differ. So when it comes to tennis, there's serve, forehand, backhand, volley, and rally. Furthermore, he'll also be able to look for coaches near him, check their reviews, their availability, their profile, and book and pay a session with them all through the app. Finally, he'll also need somewhere to play, which is why he'll also be able to look for courts near him, check their reviews, and book them all through the app as well. So these are some competitors that are doing something similar at the moment. However, these apps and websites are focusing either in providing matching accuracy or in helping or in providing different features, or some of them are not strong in any of these. So this is the market gap PlayNow wants to take advantage of by emphasizing both in helping players find opponents that match their same level and also offering different features that allow them to play. So if at some point they can't find an opponent, they can go for a coach, and they have a full guide of courts and venues at their disposal. To be successful, PlayNow needs players, which is why the app is free for all to find a match. This and the rest of the services will be structured in a freemium model, with a free and a premium version of the app. The free version will include finding players, 1 coach per month, and search courts and venues with only 1 booking per month. The premium version on the other side includes finding players, unlimited coaches, and unlimited courts and venues with special discounts when booking them. All of this for $399 a month on a subscription basis or $40 per year. Additionally, PlayNow will also generate revenue by keeping 10% of the coach's fees for each session booked through the app. So I already mentioned there's 8.1 million adults who are PlayNow's potential customers. However, I would start here with the people who are already using technology in the practice of sport, specifically websites or online tools, which accounts for 1.8 million adults according to the Australian Sports Commission. These people are already mobile active and will have instant interaction with the free version of the app thanks to our freemium model previously explained. Once this happens, these highly technology engaged users will also help me in acquiring a portion of the rest of the market through their usual sport activities. So taking this into numbers, we have a 10% share of these highly technology engaged users and a small portion of the initial potential users. We have a total of 225,000 users. With 10% of these buying a premium subscription and making some assumptions when it comes to monthly subscriptions, annual subscriptions, and the coaching sessions, and also considering I still need some further validation when it comes to customer acquisition cost, this means PlayNow would reach an annual revenue exceeding $3 million. These numbers, though, are only year 1, and they're only in Australia. Due to its sports nature, PlayNow scales globally. Just as an example, if I take this to China and initially acquire a very conservative 5% of the market that uses apps for sports, we're talking about a $32 million opportunity. So far, I validated this concept with different players and coaches around Sydney, over 30 players and coaches, and I shared the app and mockup with them, also conducting interviews, getting to understand their pain points and experiences, and getting their very constructive feedback when it comes to assessing level and providing different features to play. My next steps, by March, I want to build the app, test it, and iterate on it, and if I'm successful securing any funds today, that's where they would go. And then by May, I want to launch the app in both Android and iOS. A little bit about me and what brought me into sports. I have 5 years experience working as a lawyer in the startup space. I've participated in the organization of the South American Olympic Games, and most importantly for me, I have a lifelong passion for sports. So at PlayNow at the moment, we are looking for developers. I would love if someone who has these abilities and shares the passion for sports that I have would join me on this journey. And also, if you enjoy sports and if you like what PlayNow wants to offer, please visit our website, subscribe to our email list, and we will let you know once the app officially launches. With PlayNow, we want you to play more. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the presentation, Thomas. Your business model there anchored quite heavily around tennis and what is primarily a solo sport. I was wondering how you've analysed and incorporated, I guess, a lot of team sport, which I'd imagine a whole raft of people in the population are actually playing.
Yeah, I also want to take it into team sports. You're absolutely right. I imagine it, for example, looking for a teammate in the app, or looking when you're looking just for someone to join your team, or if you're looking for a coach, then a team, you can go for a coach either long-term or just for a short-term session if you're interested in having a short-term session with a coach. So yeah, what I look is to have any type of sports, just individuals or partner sports between two people, or team sports as well. Yeah.
Thomas, you mentioned you'll get a reasonable profile of the playing partners that you're going to play with. But I was wondering, are you planning to rate coaches, or is there going to be some means of rating coaches so that potential customers can choose which coach to employ?
Yeah, so what I imagine, what I want to achieve is to have a sort of marketplace between coaches and players, and there's going to be the whole rating processes and the whole, and this is going to be to give the coaches a profile where they'll be able to have a specific rating based on their games and the amount of games they have, and every time they have a game with a player, the player will eventually rate him, and that will allow the coach to create a reputation and then eventually have more business to coach more players.
Thomas, what's your cost per acquisition at the moment?
At the moment, it's $35 for subscription, per customer who subscribes to the app. That's the customer acquisition I have at the moment.
Right, and what's the lifetime value?
Honestly, at the moment, I don't have the lifetime value. I have the customer acquisition based on reports from Profitwell and also from specific industry averages from Statista that I have been able to gather. But yeah, honestly, at the moment, I don't have the lifetime value.
Right, okay.
Hi, my name is Brianna, and I'm the founder of Rock and Splash. So now just imagine you're going to China to study for 2 years, and all of a sudden the university just told you that it's all going to be in Chinese, no English. So what would you do in preparation for that? And what would you do if you're struggling over there? So Rock and Splash is an online learning platform for Chinese international students who are living in Australia. So why do we need that? So the current situation in China, they're basically sending 600,000 students out every year, and among the UK, the US, Australia is actually the most popular destination. They have brought us great economic boost, and apparently spending $30.9 billion a year just on uni fees, on traveling and living expenses. And now we're questioning, do they enjoy us as much as we enjoy them? So probably not. Every year they're paying around $50,000 just purely on uni fees. And because of us lowering the English standard for them to come in, they definitely struggle when they come here in terms of academically or just socially. And also the culture shock that they will never be able to overcome because of the English level, that they just stick with their own circles of friends. So now, what are the complications comes with that? So because of the inadequate student entry procedures, most of them actually fail in lots of academic subjects or academic communications. Academic integrity becomes a problem as well. A lot of them starts to find ghostwriters. And for the employability side, it's definitely not bright either. Limited competence in English, ability to communicate, and also limited understanding of the local working context definitely do not lead them to many great opportunities. And I think it's just a matter of time for them to realize that Australia is not worth it. It's not worth them $200,000 to study 4 years here. So is there a solution for both of us? This is a friend, Rachel. She actually studies at UTS doing marketing. After 2 years of studying in Australia, she still struggles quite a lot with just writing a simple essay. Do we have a solution for her? Can she find a job in the future? So now this solution is, we create this online platform for everyone to learn, especially international students. It is accessible 24/7 with our pre-recorded videos, and also it comes with some complimentary live sessions. All the courses are going to be in their first language. Just like the first question I asked you, if you're going to China to study everything in Chinese, would you rather to have a Chinese tutor who can speak English to you, or would you rather to have someone who only speaks Chinese to you to learn Chinese? So
So you might be questioning, so what courses are we going to offer? Only English courses? That's not very competitive. So no, well, English courses are only the fundamental parts of it. However, we're going to provide them academic help and also other soft skills to help them to find better jobs in the future. And also we're going to provide some cultural understanding courses that in this way, if they do become the next generation of immigrants, it will be a lot easier for them to merge in. And also it is, we're trying to build this bridge for them to have an easier transition. So why would Rock and Splosh work? You might be questioning, why don't we just do lynda.com with Chinese subtitles? So it will work because I'm personally an in-betweener. I was born and raised in China. I came to Australia when I was 11. So I know both languages and culture very well. And also I have the passion to change because when I was 11, I didn't speak much of English. I didn't really know what's going on. And I just imagine if I had something like that, it would make my life so much easier. So the business model, it is a very simple business model. At the moment, we are charging them based on the courses that they buy. So depends on what we offer and depends on the contents of the course. It is generally priced around $120 to $300. For the cost of the business, we don't really have that much of cost. Generally, mostly will only be commission fees that goes to instructors. So 70% goes to the instructor and the rest of the 30 goes back to the platform. So for the future plan, as I mentioned, we'll mainly be expanding our courses and then having more courses obviously means we're going to have more revenues. So at the moment, we are providing written and spoken English and also we're providing some university subjects to help them to improve their marks, such as business statistics. And also we do some pre-uni courses, especially for the people who haven't done HSC in Australia. And by end of 2019, we're hoping to launch employability side kind of courses to especially helping with the soft skills, interview skills, and then some technical skills. And ultimately, we want this to be a platform of people coming together and being supported. Yeah. And some up-to-date accomplishments. So far, we launched this on the 1st of August, and we have 11 courses being launched, and we have sold more than 300 units of courses. On the very first 10 days when we launched the course, we actually got $2,000 of revenue just in 10 days. And at the moment, we have 800 plus active customers just within 6 months. The last one is a bit of a cry for help and also an accomplishment. So we are providing all the courses, only sharing the videos on Google Drive. However, we have gained massive good feedbacks. I do not recall a terrible feedback from anyone. So I think it's both sides, and also I do believe lots of potentials in this business. Thank you.
It sounds like there's massive potential here. My question's around competition first.
Yep.
Are you saying that there's no one else who's providing native language support to Chinese overseas visitors?
Oh no, definitely not. So I actually worked at a Chinese tutoring place in Sydney where they provide academic help in Chinese. However, the difference will be a lot of the people who are helping, such as the tutors, are not like in-betweeners like me. So they're either very Chinese and then they are struggling themselves as well. So I guess they can only provide the academic help, but not the other parts, such as culture or the language itself.
Brianna,
yes.
Congratulations on what you've done so far. But what I'm trying to understand, are you doing this as an influencer, more as a social media sort of environment, or are you wanting these to be seen as real training courses? And if it's the latter, what's your plan to perhaps put some more accreditation or structure or rigor around what those courses are,
yep,
so that there's that level of independent credibility around them?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. I think at the moment, because it is a very young business, and I'm instructing quite a lot of them, especially for the spoken English or the writing classes. However, most of them I do personal research and I do question that whether it is going to be like the perfect course for them. I do get lots of good feedbacks, but in the future I do want to, like what you said, I do want to make it into the later one, to make it into people can actually get great education from us. I think in the future, as the business grow, I guess I have to hire and recruit more qualified people to do this, rather than just myself.
Can I understand the model for the creation of courses? Do the lecturers just get paid on how many people actually do the course, or do you pay them for developing the course?
Yeah, so for people who develop the course, we call them instructors. And then, for example, if it's $100 for the course, then they get 70% of that, and we get 30%.
So if no one takes the course, they don't get paid. It's a risk.
If no one, yes, basically.
Okay.
So it is a risk of whether you want to make the course or not. Alrighty, thank you for the.
Hi, my name is Jared, and I am the founder of Loca, a digital experience that provides curated and customizable journeys to places of interest suggested by locals. Now, Loca is actually born out of a love story. So I once matched with a girl on Tinder who asked me what my favorite bar was. All I told her was that it was in Darlinghurst. A few days later, we're walking towards this destination near Oxford Street, down a dark, gloomy and scary alley. She turns to me, frightened, and says, "Jared, are you crazy?" I assured her everything was going to be okay. We opened a nearby door and were presented with this bustling pocket bar with live music and dim lighting. Now, I asked her about this experience. She told me she loved the fact that she could trust a local to take her to a venue she had never been to before. She loved the fact it was a surprise, and she loved that it required minimal planning. Now, I wanted to recreate this experience digitally, but foresaw some problems. Tourists focus too much on the final destination and the experience had there. They don't realize that part of the journey is actually getting there, and how that is rewarding. Newly established businesses with lower marketing budgets and lower exposure are at a higher risk of failure, and passionate locals don't have an easy and direct way of being able to promote and support their favorite venues and community. I present you the solution, Loca, the best way to experience locally sourced places of interest. The journey starts with the user deciding what kind of themed journey they want to go on. That could be maybe, for example, a bar crawl, or maybe a date. They decide how much time they want to spend on this journey and the location of which the area they want to explore. They are then taken to a list of curated journeys based on their preferences. Though each journey has a final destination that remains a surprise until the user gets there. The user then navigates the area, going to different local hotspots. The user has the ability to customize the different hotspots they want to go to and the transport means between each hotspot. Upon leaving the penultimate hotspot, they are notified and will be able to be revealed the location of the final destination. Once they get to the final destination, they are shown what makes the bar so special, or what makes the venue so special, and are shown the local who suggested it. Here, they can also access their reward. The reward comes in the form of a freebie or a discount at the venue. Here, they can also refer this journey to a friend and track how much of the city they've explored. This is where the journey ends. Now, competition does exist against Loca, but Loca's competitive advantage sits in the fact that it is not just about the final destination. For its users, for its locals, it empowers them. And for the local businesses, it gives them a way to be promoted. Now, the business model sits at each user paying $4.99 per journey, but in return, they give it an end-to-end experience, navigation, a surprise, and a reward. The venues, they pay $2.99 for every user that makes it to their venue via Loca, and in return, they get free exposure and free Loca certification. Now, the local, they are paid 99 cents every time a user makes it to their suggested venue. According to a study in 2018 by Destination in New South Wales, there were 10.3 million domestic overnight tourists to Sydney, staying an average of 2.2 nights. I wanted to capture the target market of millennials and Gen Zs, specifically those that come to Sydney for activity-based reasons. Now, Loca is projected to have the market size of 20% by its end of its third year. This is under the assumption that 75% of all Loca journeys are successful. The revenue as a result is $2 million and the profit 1.4. This doesn't even include local residents or international tourists. Now, some traction has been made over the last 8 weeks. I validated Loca with over 40 people. I've had an expression of interest from 2 venues, and I've tested the methodology with 6 different users from various backgrounds. Now, my go-to-market strategy consists of partnering with government initiatives such as What's On in Sydney and Destination New South Wales to be able to leverage them to promote Loca. I will also develop business relationships with those venues suggested by the locals and use them to do in-store advertising. And I will augment organic growth via an incentive referral scheme. So, I have a great geographic knowledge of Sydney, having worked as a courier for the last 6 years. I am also the target market and understand the space intimately, and I have experience curating and developing different journeys. My head of digital, he has 10 years of UX experience and a mathematics background. But what am I asking for? I'm asking for support in the form of mentorship for marketing and advertising to help grow Loca. I am also asking for $50,000 in development funding to be able to develop prototypes to test Loca further. And lastly, I'm asking for UX testers. I've been conducting experiments manually with Loca, so if you want to understand what makes a Loca journey and experience, please go to my website and sign up. Thank you.
So my question is about evidence of interest by tourists, by venues, by locals. So I get that you've had a number of chats that's given you confidence. Do you have any evidence beyond the chats that you've had that tourists, venues, and locals will participate in numbers?
So in terms of the venues, I have reached out to a number of venues, and those I have had the chats with have been on board with something like this. In terms of the venues, I have narrowed it down to those that are under 2 years old. Those who are more established don't seem to be on board, which kind of makes sense because they have an established user base. In terms of the users, the 40 people that I validated it with, and in terms of the domestic market, I have spoken to different users of my own demographic who put themselves in the shoes of going to another city. In terms of speaking to tourists, I have not. Only those who are tourists themselves from Sydney going to another city, seeing themselves use this.
Jared, is there an inherent problem with the solution in that locals recommending something that they like might destroy the traction that they like about the local?
So you're saying that a local hotspot doesn't become a local hotspot if they get enough traction? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're asking me, sorry? It becomes too hot. I guess that is a problem. I suppose there are always different venues popping up, around the city, in different parts of the city. Sydney is expanding as a city, so that means there are different venues around the city. And sure, I would say it could come into that issue, but because they're such a bustling city, I think that the ability for Sydney to expand, this may not be as much of an issue as it possibly could be foreseen.
You're almost becoming a trusted social advisor. So how do you develop that trust? How do you build the brand around building trust?
So that comes down to, I would say the trust comes from the venue. So you don't want to go to a venue that isn't trusted, right? I would say that comes down to building the rapport with the venue and doing the due diligence around the venue and doing extra research, making sure the Google reviews match, making sure that the venues are quite substantial and worthwhile going to. Does that answer your question?
Thanks, David. Hey, everyone. Before I get started about me, I actually wanted to just add a couple of thanks and shout-outs, if that's all right. I know they're not here, but I've been promised that the judges will see the video, so I do want to acknowledge the time and the commitment that the judges make. I know it seems like they just sit up here and ask tough questions and they get to go away and blah, blah, blah. But these guys, and I know from personal experience, these guys are actually seriously invested in this program and in many other programs at UTS. I've personally worked with a few of them in helping enhance my business since I was up on this stage last year. These guys they really put a lot of time and effort into this, so definitely appreciate the commitment they make to the program. So just join me in thanking them. They'll see it on the video. I also want to thank the sponsors. I don't know if that, no, it's not up there, but holy cow, did you guys see the list? Like the $74,000 that are up for grabs today, which is gargantuan. It's so awesome, and really appreciate the sponsors who make all of this so valuable for the founder. So thanks to them as well. And finally, I want to thank everyone who pitched, because I personally know how tough it is to be up here and do this pitch. It's really, really hard to get in front of you guys and bare your soul and all the work that you've put in over the last semester, and in some cases, like years of work. I think Yakin mentioned at the beginning there were 16 pitches, and you guys have seen 10. I think, have most people, were there a lot of people who were here for the first bit? Maybe show of hands? Yeah, so you guys saw, yeah. Take the time to meet with these founders as well, because they're working on really cool projects. I think they're all incredible and amazing. I had the opportunity to see them earlier today. So do connect with them at the drinks after this session. Like David said, I got the opportunity to pitch my first startup, ResistX, here on this stage a year and a couple of days ago. Not that that day is burnt in my memory or anything, but it was a fantastic experience and a really important step on my entrepreneurial journey. For me, it was a really incredible opportunity because it was like the intersection of these two really important parts of my life. One was fitness, which since moving to Australia in 2010, I had developed a really keen interest in. And the other was technology. I grew up with technology. I was lucky enough as a young kid to have access to a computer in my bedroom, like from age 7. I didn't emerge until like age 17. I had to learn how to program on this really old clunky machine with like a daisy wheel printer and cassette tapes and all this stuff. It was really cool for me. In either case, like bringing these two things together was just a really fun thing. And it was no real surprise that I ended up in a very long career in technology. I ended up spending about 18 years working for various enterprise companies, doing like big IT stuff, big storage, compute, and whatnot in people's data centers. One thing led to another, and I end up in this wonderful country, Australia, like I said, in 2010. And it was there that I had probably one of the best career opportunities of my life. That was the chance to start what's known as the managed services business for a company called EMC, servicing actually one of our sponsors, Commonwealth Bank. And that was like one of the hardest jobs, but most interesting and rewarding jobs that I've ever had. And there's really two reasons. One was because I got the opportunity to solve a real problem. I could see my efforts bringing something to reality. And two, I got to work with a really great team. And those two things were really valuable to me. However, as corporate life tends to do, I got more and more interested in making sure that I had things like progression. I wanted bigger titles. I wanted more responsibility. And these things, unfortunately, truly unfortunately, I got. Until I had moved so far away from solving problems that I cared about, rather than focusing on things that mattered to my customer. Instead, I was filling holes in our bookings target for the quarter. And it's like, what am I doing? I felt like I was losing my soul. Luckily, my partner happens to be an alum of UTS, and he got this email saying, hey, there's going to be this big talk about entrepreneurship down at the Great Hall in Building 1, is it? Yeah. And let's go. So I said, cool, let's go. And funny thing, I almost didn't go to this talk because he was sick that night, but I decided to go anyway. And I know, bad on me, but anyway, I go, and that's where I see this German guy named Jochen Schweitzer up on the stage talking about, hey, wouldn't it be really nice if in Australia, rather than trying to teach our kids to go get good jobs, we could teach them to make good jobs through this clever thing called entrepreneurship. And I thought, hey, I like that. That sounds like a good idea to me. And I was hooked. So I went to an information session for the MBAE, and I had such a great time that I went to another one. And then, next thing I knew it, I'm like registered for a course, and I'm sitting there learning about accounting and finance and taking classes with some of the people in this room. It was there that ResistX was born. As many of you would obviously realize, going through the MBAE program, you get to develop your startup. It was a really fun time over that year, really developing that product. Halfway through the program, I realized that this is what I wanted to do, and so I quit my job and just committed myself 100% to completing my degree here and launching this startup called ResistX. with the benefit of hindsight today, you obviously realize I'm not wearing a Resistex t-shirt. With the benefit of hindsight, I realize now that I probably had a lot more things to learn even then about what it takes to really make a startup like Resistex work. I remember in particular a piece of sage wisdom from one of our lecturers, Tara, in our EIP course. She said something to the effect, I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like, if you ask the right questions of your customers, then you will almost always end up somewhere you didn't expect. And that's something that I wasn't doing with Resistex. That became painfully obvious to me in a conversation I was having with a potential customer where I was pitching a version of Resistex. This is a gym owner that I happen to know, the gym where I train. And I'm explaining to him how I've got this great product, it's going to help you engage more gym goers, it's going to help you scale your business. And he's like, okay, that's great, Tim, thanks for that, appreciate that. However, that's not really my problem. My problem is this other thing. As it turns out, this particular gym is a fitness educator. So they work with fitness professionals to get them things like Cert 3s and 4s in fitness and to teach them specific skills on how to engage with particular communities in the fitness area, in the fitness space. He's like, my big problem is I want to scale my education business. My fitness business is fine. You're a tech guy. You know what we do. What can you do? Can you help me scale this education business? And I said, sure, why not? And on that day, 10th of September, Coursey was born. And over the period of time since then, it's just been a few short months, I've had the great benefit of working with this wonderful customer, building a decent pipeline to another set of customers, and also building just an incredible team of creatives and problem solvers who are once again focused on this idea of fixing a customer's actual problem. For me, the entrepreneurial journey has been punctuated with like a lot of ups and downs, but if I were to take away anything, it would be to make sure that you're always staying connected with your customer's need, because that's where the greatest amount of reward is. So, that's the for me, that's the primary thing that I've learned. When I reflect back on the circumstances that led me here, a year ago, I think about all of the sort of random things that led from this job to moving to Australia, to meeting Yakin, to engaging with this program, to going to this gym even, and having that one conversation that led to this business that I get to run now called Coursey. It reminds me that so much of what we do is just a pool of contingent possibilities. And to me, that's exactly what this is all about, right? Like, this is a community, UTS, the MBAE, Venture Day. It's a community of people who are creating contingent possibilities where things just sort of mix around, and out of that opportunity springs. And for that, I am incredibly grateful, and I feel very fortunate, and I hope my other MBAE colleagues feel the same. So with that, that's all I've got to say. Join me again in thanking the wonderful panel, thanking the UTS staff, faculty, all the great people who make this day possible and who make all of these opportunities for us as founders so meaningful. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of the day.
It reminds me, actually, Tim's experience of that great line, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. And so if you're prepared, when the opportunity emerges, you can capitalize on it. Okay, we now have Teresa Nguyen, and she is the co-founder and CEO of Open Visa, which is a platform that streamlines the customer experience for Australian visa applicants. Open Visa's aim is to create a streamlined, user-friendly service, adding value to clients by providing quality information that is accurate, simple, and easy to digest. Teresa actually has first-hand experience with the Australian visa application process, and so her passion is to actually share this knowledge and alleviate the pain points for others who like to migrate to Australia. By trade, Teresa is actually incredibly competent, highly motivated as a finance director, and has extensive experience in media, entertainment, and the retail industries. And she was part of the first cohort of the MBAEs. So she's been out for a couple of years. Tell us what you've learned.
Sure.
Thanks, David, for the warm welcome. Hi, everyone. It's very hard to beat Tim's keynote speech there, but I'll try my best. So firstly, congrats to the team and individuals who presented today. I know how nerve-wracking it is. We were essentially here 2 years ago, closer to this day. It's really difficult to obviously pitch your ideas, you know, what you've been working on for months and potentially years on the line for perhaps strangers to hear and I suppose judge you on it. So congratulations for making it this far. So as I mentioned, I was standing here with Corey, my co-founder, back corner there, 2 years ago. Back then, we were pitching a platform called SendForm. As David mentioned, we are trying to simplify the Australian visa application process. For those who haven't gone through it, I can tell you now it is a lengthy one, depending on what visa you're after, actually. So back then, we had this idea. We started with the MBAE as 4 individuals. We've never met before. We went through the first trimester, still didn't talk to each other, still trying to find our feet, and then the second trimester came and it was EIP. You know, God brought us all together, or fate, or you know, something up there. We've all selected the same startup to work on. So Yushin, Corey, Ellie, and myself, we worked together along with a 5th member who's not part of the Open Visa team. We basically selected this particular client to work on. And that's one of the best things I believe the MBAE could bring, is the fact that it's very hands-on, it's very practical. It's one of the reasons why I chose the MBAE instead of the executive MBA. I'm very hands-on. I believe, you know, when you're in today's day and age, you need to be innovative. You need to be at the top of your game. And be it, you know, starting your own business or working in a business. I think you know, it's a very competitive marketplace out there, and I think having the skill set, the tools to be able to move forward, I think that's really important, be it in a small business or in a large corporation. So back to EIP, we've selected this client. We worked, I think it was about 8 to 9 weeks, day and night. Mind you, we all had full-time jobs. So this course was pitched as, you can do it while having a full-time job. Whew, don't know how we survived that, but we got there. We are living proof that you can make it. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Through our late nights, we basically discussed, you know, what we're doing in our normal lives, in our normal jobs, our pain points, and it so happens that Corey and I were both going through a visa process. Not for ourselves, we're legitimately Australian citizens. Corey was going through a visa process for his wife, and I was going through the visa process for my adopted son. So what came about is obviously the process, how long it takes to obtain a visa, all of the documents you've got to put together, the emails backwards and forward with your migration agent, lawyers, etc. And in the end, you've got to resubmit it again if it's, you know, if something's missing. So we've come up with the idea throughout that process that surely we're smart people. We can automate this, we can make it work. We know exactly the pain points, we are the customers, and we know what we want, and we know what it is that potentially clients want. So from EIP all the way down to Venture Day, we ditched our own individual ideas, and we created, back then, as I mentioned, SendForm. So 2 years on, we are now Open Visa. It's taken us a long time. It wasn't an easy journey. We still have our full-time jobs, and we work on Open Visa full-time. I suppose the one takeaway from that is we're very fortunate that we understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. We were very fortunate that the 4 of us had, you know, individual skill set. You know, Ellie's amazing with her marketing. Corey has built our whole entire platform and working with our dev team. Yushin can't, you know, she actually went back to uni to get her migration agent registration, so good on her. So essentially, you know, we know what we're good at, we know what we're not, and basically we try not to do everything ourselves. Working in a team of 4, one would think that we've got 4 people, great resources, but we still needed, obviously, help. And that is from our development team. So 2 years on, we've also narrowed our platform down to what we believe is going to work. And I think I've got to thank UTS again. They've invited us back earlier in the late last year to participate as a client with their EIP team. And from then, I can see a couple of faces here. Hello there. You know, they brought something to light. You know, they brought something to light in the terms that we were trying to cater for a mass market. You know, you're looking at over 99 different visas in Australia alone. We had, you know, the partner visa, we had the family visa, we had the skilled workers visa. Anyone who says, do you have that visa, we would say yes and go and build it. In the end, it was just too much. You know, it's very difficult to kind of cater for everyone. So as part of the feedback that was given by the EIP team, it's guys, narrow it down to what you're good at, you know, what you can relate to. So at the moment, Open Visa specializes in 2 visas, student and graduate visas. Yay. So I think the point to take out from that is, yes, you know, you can look at the market size, you can look at everything, and yes, you think that you can do it all, but you have to be really realistic about it. So that's one of my advice is, you know, do something good with one thing, and then of course you can expand from there. Don't try to take over the world as much as, you know, the idea of it is amazing and you're going to make lots of money and everyone's going to understand and be on board with you. Sometimes it's not. You know, you will have people who will tell you that your idea is a crap idea or that it's been done before. You know, but if you really truly believe in it, take on board all of the advice that you believe is going to be good and leave the rest in your back pocket. It might come handy one day. So I've got my little notes here of what I needed to talk about while the judges deliberate. So I think I've ticked it all. I think it's definitely about, you know, 2 years on, resilient is the other word that I like to use. You know, it's very difficult to work full time, have a family, have commitments. We all live in Sydney. But if you really believe in what you're doing, you know, make sure that you just go for it and get the help that you need. And also at times, take time out. You know, for the last 2 years, personally, we have had to take time out. Sometimes it just gets too much, and it's okay. And it's okay to say, look, let's reset, let's refresh, and at least that way, you never know, you would actually might come up with a better solution. You know, you might be able to meet people and hear what they're saying rather than just be bogged down in your idea. You know, be open-minded to change. We thought that we, you know, by catering for the masses, that we were doing ourselves a favor. We weren't. You know, we weren't able to do that. Of course, later on, potentially we could, but right now, let's just do what we do well. And I think the other thing is, you know, we wouldn't have been able to do it with the support of UTS, especially Jochen and the business unit. Their support over the last 2 years, be it during our time doing the course, as well as after. You know, they've been able to provide us with a meeting place in VLab, which we still use. You know, we wouldn't be able to do it without that. And the fact that, you know, days like this where there is external support, there's sponsorship, there's people who are, you know, willing to not only give